Welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio from Stewards Planning Group. Stewards Planning Group is a company that specializes in helping you build purposeful retirement plans, custom plans that not only help clients steward their treasure, but also their time and talent as well. They believe if you're taken care of financially, you can go even further to make the family, community, and kingdom impact you truly desire to make, which is the ultimate purpose of wealth. If you'd like to set up a no-cost, no-obligation meeting with one of their financial advisors, please give them a call at 222-4236. You can request a meeting at stewardsplanning.com, or you can simply stop by their office on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. I'm your host, Ben Taatjes of Stewards Planning Group, and once again, glad to be joining you on a Tuesday afternoon. And in the office today, I am joined by Kendra Peterson, one of our advisors on our team. Kendra, good to have you in the studio today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, you know, you're always one that gets a little nervous for these things, but it's always fun to have you on the radio because I like the way that you're able to plan with our clients and boil down what are many times complex things to a very simple thing. I think that's important. Sometimes when we plan, you know, in our profession, we give lots of acronyms and we talk through things kind of quickly, but that's something that I know I've always liked about the way you do your work with our clients, and all of our advisors do, but we all try to teach. We all try to explain things because I've always felt it's better to understand, not just trust your financial advisor, but you need to understand. And that's one thing we're going to talk about today is this idea around planning, certainly around the one big beautiful tax bill and kind of how that relates to your financial plan. And I just want to start off by, you know, highlighting again that the word planning is in the DNA of our company. It's Stewards Planning Group. We felt it was important enough to name that in the name of the company when we rebranded from Taatjes Financial Group. And yes, we still do with financial services. Yes, we do still do much of the same things that we did before, but the emphasis on planning has become front and center here at Stewards Planning Group. As we talked about last week's show, joined by Tim Mattern, we talked a lot about the One Big Beautiful Bill and some of the things that were made permanent by that bill. And we say permanent for sure the next 4 years. We kind of know the tax situation that we're dealing with. And it wasn't necessarily going to go that way because as of the end of this year, the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was going to sunset. But as of July 4, this One Big Beautiful Bill was signed into law. So one of the key things that Tim and I talked about last week, Kendra, was how the current tax brackets, certainly the 10 and the 12%, are very large. You know, a lot of people, I think for the middle class, the lower than middle class, certainly, you know, most average Americans, you stand to gain a lot by the way that this bill came together. One of the things that our plans do is really try to maximize tax brackets. So Kendra, maybe walk me through just a little bit, you know, how when you're planning, having a more consistent, right, tax code and having a larger standard deduction, which we have now, continued on from the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, how that helps you plan with your clients.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. So with the emphasis on planning, we are now implementing the Stewards plans, which we always have been. We just kind of put a name to that. And now that we're able to, as a part of the plan, be able to see the client's whole picture, all of the assets that they have, all of the investment accounts that they have, looking at their income sources, whether it be from their salary, their wages, land rent, if they're in retirement, Social Security, pensions, be able to see the income that they have coming in, and then looking at the tax brackets that we now know are going to be extended a few more years, be able to maximize those tax brackets, whether it be through Roth conversions, those tax brackets.
Yeah, and I think one of the key components as we deal with retirees, right, is something called RMDs, Required Minimum Distributions. And it's one of the things you and I were talking about before the show is just how important it is that people understand as part of their steward's plan what their future income will be, right? And no, we don't know exactly where it's going to be, but using some projections, some assumptions, we can certainly sit down with a client and project into the future where their required minimum distributions will be. And that's really important for creating a more balanced and more tax-savvy plan, isn't it?
Yeah, so again, looking back to the plan, being able to see the income that you have coming in now and in the future, including your required minimum distributions, you can see some certainty in the amount of income that you have coming in the future, and you can look at that alongside your Social Security if you have any pension, land rent, and it gives us the ability to kind of do some planning now to get ahead of the income that you have coming in, managing those tax brackets now and for the future.
Yeah, and I love that when we look at planning, again, one of the key components of having a plan, and one of the things that I think our clients have really come to appreciate as we review their financial plan or their steward's plan with them, is that, yeah, we don't have guarantees, right? We don't know. We can't tell the future. But with assumptions, we can make educated decisions. And if you're in a market like we've been in these last several months where the market's going up and it's been very good, right? A plan gives us some perspective. It says, yeah, it's not always going to be this way. Okay, so we need to make decisions for when the market might not be as good, which again, we see that as well. That's part of the investment landscape is ups and downs. So planning gives us some perspective when the markets are going up and they're doing really well. But I think it can also help us make more educated, informed decisions when the markets aren't doing well. It removes this emotion from your decision-making process. It allows us to really look at the numbers and say, okay, based on the assumptions in this plan, right, I can take a step back, remove emotion, and get down to making a good, sound financial decision. So I think that's what I want to leave our listeners with today. If the markets are good like they've been, great. But again, having a sound financial plan, a plan that allows you to make decisions based on the facts that you have, right? Not the feelings that you have, but the facts is much more important. And that's part of stewardship. When we talk about tax planning, we talk about all the things we talk about here, we usually tie it back really well to the reason, the why behind what you're doing. You're trying to take care of your assets. We feel like if you're able to bring the assets in and spend them in a more tax efficient way, right, that allows less of your money to get used by the government. And I think we, because we're the ones that have made this money, are the ones that will steward it better than the U.S. or Minnesota government. So, and again, from all of us at Stewards Planning Group, until next week, steward well.
Do you need help stewarding your time, your talent, or your treasure? If so, Stewards Planning Group can help. Now is the time to set up a no-cost, no-obligation meeting. You can do this one of three ways. Number one, give them a call right now at 222-4236. You can request a meeting online at stewardsplanning.com, or you can just stop by their office located on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. We'll see you next time.
Securities offered through Avantax Investment Services. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Avantax Advisory Services. Insurance services offered through an Avantax affiliated insurance agency.